Sales calls feel hard, but not for the reason that you think. Many women entrepreneurs think that the key to more money, more sales, more revenue is to be more persuasive. It's not. The key is to remain emotionally detached to whether someone buys from you or not. If you buy from me, fantastic. If you don't buy from me, fantastic. Because I'm not attaching my worth or my value based on whether you buy, based on the results. My identity is in Christ. It's not whether you buy or not. That is the key to more money. And that detachment, that remaining emotionally detached throughout the sales process, including the sales call, the sales presentation, it's not only the words that you're using, it's not only the actions that you're taking, but it's what's energetically felt. The prospect shouldn't feel that you're attached to the results. When I am attached, emotionally detached, whether someone buys from us or not, here's what happens. Instead of you focusing on presenting your offer and presenting how your offer will solve your prospect's biggest problem or give them their biggest desire quicker, faster, more effectively, and more efficiently than you could on your own. When you're not doing that, you're probably doing one of these four things instead. You're trying to please, you're trying to pull, you're trying to prove, or you're trying to perform. But you're not presenting. And I'm going to break this down. And when you're either pleasing, pulling, proving, or performing, it's likely because you don't recognize the value you already create. You've lost sight of the results you help your clients achieve and the transformation you help your clients achieve. The true value that you deliver, you've lost sight of it. And that's why the pleasing, the proving, the pulling, and the performing happen. That's why sales calls feel hard. I'm gonna go even further. But if you are struggling, like the foundation is valuing your value. And if you're struggling with that aspect, which includes communicating it, grab my training on the 7 biggest pricing mistakes women entrepreneurs make that keep them from raising their fees. So this is it. Get instant access to this. Just click on the link in the pinned comments. See, when you recognize and value your value, when it's time to sell, whether one-to-one or one-to-many, your focus is on, am I communicating? Am I presenting the payoff of my offer? Am I clear of what's the challenge my prospect is having? What's their desired outcome? How would they like things to be? What's getting in their way? What have they tried before that hasn't worked? Like really listening to all of that information. And then if it makes sense, then I'm focusing on presenting my offer as one of the best solutions for them to get their problem solved quicker, faster, more efficiently, more effectively than they could on their own. That's where my focus is. It's this detached focus. I'm focused on presenting. I'm focused on listening to the needs and the desires and the wants of my prospect. And then I'm focused on presenting it, and I'm detached whether they buy or not, because my value is not in whether they buy. But here's what I know from lived experience and from coaching other women entrepreneurs and helping them see the value in their offers, raise their fees, and close premium value clients. If and when you don't see your value, here's where the pleasing comes in. Like you're going to be afraid to ask the questions that others are afraid to ask. It's like, I don't want to offend them. But the truth is, when you're detached, it's like, I'm going to have the courage to ask you that no one else is asking you. I'm going to have the courage to share with you what no one else has the courage to share, like the real cost of you not getting this problem solved. Or what can happen? Let's talk about the pulling. That's why sales calls can feel hard. It's like I'm trying to pull them to say yes. Because let me ask you, can you feel? I think we all can feel when someone's, not quite sure. And when we're detached, it's like, wait, maybe you're not ready for this. Maybe now's not a good time. It doesn't sound like you're interested in this, right? In fact, I had such a great experience of this recently. I'm back to my gym and recovering from my major abdominal surgery last year. And, I'm on the bike. I actually just graduated to the elliptical. And one of the girls there was like, oh my God, did you sign up? They're going to have a reformer Pilates studio. And if you enroll now, you get it at $79 a month. You should do it. So being someone who loves Pilates, I've never actually done it on a reformer. I decided to talk to the sales guy and ask him about it. And he was so detached to whether I bought it or not, because the first thing he said to me when I started to ask him about it, he's like, so what are your goals? And in fact, when I started cheering, I was like, well, my goal is to recover. That's my number one goal. And he's like, oh, recover from what? He didn't go in and tell me the details first. He wanted to see if this was even something that I was interested in, I was committed in, what my goals are. It made sense. And it was interesting as he was talking to me, and then I had my first objection or my first concern. I was like, so are these Pilates teachers going to be trained? And he's like, well, he gave some answer. It wasn't something I was satisfied with, but you could tell he's like, either I said it or he said it. I was like, well, let me think about it. He's like, yeah, why don't you think about it? And he's like, and you get back to me. And I loved it because I was like, I'm actually not that interested. And he could tell that I'm not interested. And he was detached. That's an example of being detached. He shared the opportunity. I had a concern, but actually my goal didn't line up with being part of the, pre-sale for the reformer. He wasn't trying to pull me and convince me to buy. And so if you ever find yourself like, gosh, I'm trying to work really hard in the sales calls, chances are you are not detached enough. Because there's no reason for you to work harder than necessary, right? And the hard should be, am I effectively communicating my offer? Am I effectively communicating the payoff of my offer? And am I effectively communicating how I can help them solve their problem easier, quicker, faster? So the proving, and you may do this when you're really excited for an opportunity to work with a client. You may not even realize that you're emotionally attached to the result. You're just so excited. And it's like, I want to tell you about this, and I want to tell you about this, and I've done this, and you're getting into proving to yourself and the prospect. If you ever find yourself talking more rather than asking questions, it's likely that you're proving and not presenting. And then the last is performing. This is when you may feel that you need to be a certain way, sound a certain way, other than yourself in order to have someone say yes. Again, but when you are grounded in the value that you bring to every client, customer, you can remain emotionally detached. And what happens? You actually draw clients in. It seems like, wait, when I'm not working harder than I need to, when I'm not pleasing or proving or pulling or performing, when I'm detached, I actually draw people in. Yes, you will see more people say yes to your offer when you're detached. It's like that Maya Angelou saying, people will remember more about how they felt around you and less what you said. Because you're not trying to control the situation. You're not trying to convince them to do something that they don't want to do. You're presenting an opportunity and believing that they're intelligent enough to make the best decision for themselves when the opportunity presents themselves. So your job is to present the opportunity, to present that this is where they are, right? This is where they want to be. This is the unnecessary pain that they're in right now and the tens of thousands of dollars it's costing them. And that your offer is the bridge to where they want to be. And you're laying it out and showing them through social proof, what others have achieved and the process. And you're allowing them to make the decision, and you're detached, emotionally detached. When you do this, you will find that sales calls don't feel hard. And you will find that you will make more money faster. Listen, don't forget to grab your no-cost training on the 7 biggest pricing mistakes women entrepreneurs make that keep them from raising their fees. This is particularly true for you if you know that you should be raising your fees and you know you're undercharging, but you're not quite sure why you keep undercharging. And you recognize that you've lost sight of the value that you create because you're not clear on how to effectively communicate it. This training is for you. Okay, until next time, take care. God bless. Love you. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when we release a new video. Then click the TV to watch the next video. Go to altheamcintyre.com to get your free training on the 7 biggest sales mistakes that keep you from 7 figures.